Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about Goblin Slayer from Manga UK, and I've got to admit, I was impressed by this anime. Holy! But before we jump into the review, if you want to hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, as well as that cheeky notification bell to be notified when more videos drop, and why not leave a comment? Why not leave a comment on this video if you have seen Goblin Slayer? So without further ado, let's just jump straight into it. Okay, so general information. Right, okay, first of all, when I heard about this anime, I was always told that episode 2 was something that was shocking, was something different. Episode 1! Holy crap, it was different. What is this thing? Okay, I'm going to talk about that much later on in the video. So, the anime follows a priestess who has just wanted to start adventuring. She has no experience. She has the ability to heal and do stuff as a priestess for healing. So she then joins up with this party that think that they're going to take on the world. They're going to defeat all these goblins because these goblins are a lot easier. So they decide to go off, and oh boy, if you've seen it, let me know down below in the comments. So as her party gets wiped out really quickly, she meets a character called the Goblin Slayer, or Goblin Slayer, whose main objective is to wipe out goblins, and that's all he does. He doesn't care about anything else. It's just literally take down those goblins. That's all he wants to do, and that's absolutely fine. But the Goblin Slayer, as the name says, he is an amazing Goblin Slayer. That's his main thing. He's got a special rank, which is the Goblin Slayer. How many times have I said that so far? And, you know, through the entire anime, he meets up with other people and then just kills loads of goblins and hobgoblins and Emperor Goblins and Super Goblins and basically anything else that you can think of. Now this anime is only 12 episodes, and I generally thought it could be at least maybe 14 or 15 episodes, a little bit longer. Maybe if you want to go for the whole hog of 24, because there was so much in this anime that I can't talk about it all, but you're going to have to watch it, and I highly recommend that you do. One thing is, this does really keep your interest. I generally thought that I would get bored halfway through, be like, oh, I can't be bothered, but I actually generally really liked it, and I really wish that I checked it out months ago or years ago when it first dropped. Now, I actually love the anime intro because I think it shows off some of the best artwork that you can see within the anime, and it actually kind of makes you want to watch more and more every single time that you see it. Let's talk about the overview. This anime will shock you in the very first episode, and I didn't realize why. As I said before, I was always told that episode 2 was the shocker, but in this one, the party that the priestess is in gets wiped out very quickly. Goblin Slayer does actually explain the reason why goblins do this and what they do. So they kill the guy and then they abuse the girl, and that's pretty much it. They can't sugarcoat that at all. One girl gets to the point where she is poisoned and has to be killed, so Goblin Slayer does that. And another girl gets abused to the point where her mind breaks, and Goblin Slayer does explain that this is what goblins do. They break the person so that the person doesn't want to adventure anymore. They don't want anything to happen. And I generally didn't expect this straight away. Goblin Slayer kills all the goblins in the cave. And he also says that if the goblins stay alive, then they learn, they come back, and they try and kill the person that has basically killed them or hurt them. And you see this again multiple times in the anime, where goblins will be like, oh, I'm so sorry, don't do this. And then they go and attack, but then they all get killed. Now, originally with Goblin Slayer, I generally thought he was going to be the dick all the time, where he's like, I'm not going to help anyone else, just stop this, I can't be bothered. You know, if it's got goblins, I'll go kill goblins. But majority, his character changes over time. And I think that's the kind of development of the priestess with him, as well as the party that he gets later on, with a monster, a dwarf, as well as an elven archer. Goblin Slayer to me shows off what a dark fantasy should be. We see a lot of isekais and a load of kind of like, hey, happy times. But Goblin Slayer is not like that all the time. It has its happy moments, but I will say that it has a whole different volley of like dark tones, to the point where he will like organize an attack against the goblins, knows exactly what to do. But the Goblin Slayer is also really smart. One of the fights, Goblin Slayer has this sort of scroll, and people kind of talk about it, and no one knows what it does. And it's a teleportation scroll, like a very easy way. And the way that he explains it is that it's able to get people out of the dungeons and stuff like that. When the party gets almost wiped out, the last thing that he uses is this teleportation scroll. But he set it so that it's the bottom of this ocean or something, and the pressure would obviously kill a goblin. And it's like, I think he's against a hobgoblin, a really giant one. Or I don't think it's an orc, but it could look like an orc. So anyway, he uses this scroll and he slaps it on the goblin, and then obviously it activates and the water just pours on him. And then they're able to stop him. And everyone's like, oh my god, we didn't think of that. That's a basic attack, but it's used so well. And I was like, oh my god, it is. This is so cool. We then get other fights later on, and you know, like the priestess will get hurt, she'll get knocked out, she'll get badly wounded to the point where she's about to die, and Goblin Slayer just like loses it. He kills all these goblins straight away. Even like his other party, they take down a lot of goblins, and it's just something interesting. Like even when they're walking towards into this giant room, like all these goblins, god, so many names of goblins, but they trick like the party. You know, they're able to put poison gas in, paralyzing gas. Even to the point where they see like this adventurer, this like skeleton who's just been like, who the party thinks alive, but then realizes it's not. It's just the way that this is done reminds me of like D&D or like Final Fantasy Online or any sort of like fantasy game that you can play. It is just perfect. This anime is ridiculously good. Let's say that. It's dark tones. It has the ability to make you want to watch constantly. Perfect. That's how I see this. So let's talk about the animation. I really like the animation in this. The way that the characters were drawn were kind of perfect to me. It wasn't rushed. There wasn't anything bad that I could see. And just how the dark tones when, say, they're out at night or in a cave, you could easily see it and it wasn't too dark. I know that sounds really weird, but with some programs or animes that I've seen, when they've got like in a cave, everything is dark, you can hardly see it. Or the archer were running about, you know, it was fast, it was very well detailed, so you didn't feel kind of like, oh yeah, whatever. It didn't feel like it would take you out of it, so you would believe that this would happen. Archer's got to be kind of quick. Even when she was firing her bows, it felt like on point. Like literally, it kind of felt like an Avenger type thing a little bit, but I generally kind of really liked it. Let's talk about the writing. The writing to me was something that the story felt progressive. It didn't feel boring. It felt very well thought out. So when the Goblin Slayer was saying, like, this is how we defeat goblins, this is what we do, it felt like it was confident. There wasn't a kind of pull back like, it felt very straightforward, which I really liked. There was a story, there was a simple plot, and everything kind of worked around it. I think one of the main things with the writing is how everyone came together for the very last battle. Now, to me, it felt very rushed. Like I was watching it, and then all of a sudden, boom, we've got something completely different. I was like, oh, when did we get from here to here? But I'm so glad that all the characters were able to come together, and it felt like really decent writing. Not 100% the best, but at least it felt like I could follow this and be kind of normal about it. Okay, let's talk about the characters. To me, Goblin Slayer was a generic hero, but it felt like he was well planned out. You saw that he had a heart of stone at first. As he carried on through the anime, it felt like he was okay on some things, that he was able to kind of make more friends. I generally really liked it. Now, I generally thought that he was going to be a goblin himself, because there were so many times when people are like, what does he look like? And you don't see it until much later on where he takes off his helmet, but you also see these sorts of ways that he is normal. He is the type of person that you would want on your side, and he would be a good friend. The priestess generally didn't annoy me. I thought she was going to be one of those characters that would cry a lot, that would be more like, wah, but wasn't. And that to me really stood out. I was like, oh my god, I actually genuinely like this character, because it felt like she was well-rounded. She wasn't just a generic character that was there to be like, Goblin Slayer, no! And also there wasn't much of a love interest, which again is very rare when it comes to anime. So generally all of this was fine. Now the party, there's quite a lot of people in this. There is this kind of monster type guy, then you have then you have the dwarf, and then you have the elven archer. And these characters worked really well. I could see them having their own spin-off anime, or if there was a second season, having more time devoted to them. There was a banter between the dwarf as well as the elven, and I generally like that. Maybe they got that from Lord of the Rings, but I generally really thought this was fun, interesting, and generally kind of a decent party that, you know, I would have around all the time and consider them to be my friends if I was in that world. My final thoughts. This anime is 100% great. I would highly recommend it more than anything because it had a decent story, it had a plot, the writing was good, and it shocks you at the very beginning. And this is an 18. I've got to admit, I have never really seen an anime like this for a very long time. It had me intrigued to know what I wanted to watch. I never felt bored at all. That was a very good thing. And I thought that the attacks on goblins, you know, hobgoblins, everything like that was perfect. You know, it felt like a very well-written anime, and especially the end, the last battle felt like everything was put into place. It was something that you would watch and be like, this has got to be it. One also thing I did like is the fact that no one was really overpowered. Goblin Slayer could get hit, get knocked out, and he'd be out for a while. The priestess would only have a set amount of skills or spells per day, and so did all the other characters. It wasn't like, oh, I can blast you, I can heal you, I can do all this. They had a set amount of time, and they say like you have to pray to your goddess every single day or something like that, or you have to pray at a certain point, which reminded me very much of D&D. I just generally thought this was great. This is definitely an anime that I would recommend. Again, it's an 18, so if you're over the age of 18, watch it. If you're younger than 18, don't watch it. Wait until you're 18, and then you can watch it. But again, I'm going to disclaim, like, I'm not condoning if you're young and you watch this, don't come back and be like, what the hell, you know, blah, blah, blah. Just watch it if you're over the age of 18. So, yeah, this anime is absolutely perfect. So I'm going to leave the question up to you. What are your thoughts on this? Do you like it? Have you seen Goblin Slayer? Would you watch this? Would you get it? Let me know down below in those comments. If you've liked this video, then like, favorite, comment, and subscribe. Check that cheeky notification bell to be notified when more videos drop. Leave some comments so I can read, because I read every single one. And with that, everyone, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.